Alright, before I let Megyn Kelly explain herself, now this guy's interviewing Megyn Kelly. The name of the video is Trump's Comeback Megyn Kelly Interview. Megyn Kelly did not like Trump for a while. And she felt that Trump was disrespectful to women. He didn't like women and all this kind of stuff. But then Megyn Kelly's seen how the Democratic Party lies and they cover up, and she started to, because Megyn Kelly's always been a conservative, whether she was on the Democratic side. I think she plays both parties, but whether she was on the Democratic side more or the Republican side more, she was a conservative. There are conservatives that are Democratic. You say, well, how's that possible? Well, because there are conservatives who believe that you have to have the Democratic Party go out for the people and let all the people have their way in order to survive, until it gets like we have it now, where Donald Trump has to go in there and remove thousands, millions of migrants that are criminals. They're in gangs. They're in rape mobs. They're in the cartels, and they're smuggling drugs and guns, and they're doing human trafficking right in our America, right in the U.S. They're doing this right on this side of the border. They're doing all this stuff. They're trying to turn America into big Mexico. And they don't care if they come in here and they outnumber America with Mexicans. They don't care. And maybe some of you don't care. As long as they're not raping your daughter, as long as they're not having the cartels come and run you out of your home, okay? Maybe you don't care. But somebody has to care. And Donald Trump cares. Donald Trump is taking it upon himself to get personally angry at this situation and say, I don't care. And Megyn Kelly's going to say, Trump don't care. I don't care. Okay? When you come in here and you think that you're just going to come in here and take over, when you think that you're just going to come in here and you're just going to come in here and turn this into the world's #1 Walmart. And everybody can come in here and use our toilet and do whatever they want to do in our toilet. And ain't nobody going to clean up after them that's coming from over there. We got to clean up after them. Okay, come on. Now, she's talking more here than migrants. I don't even think she mentions it. But that's me mentioning it. But she's talking about the whole thing. Let's listen to what she has to say so I don't hold you long.
Of moments along the way where it seems like he would be out, starting with, comments about John McCain, his interaction with you. There's a lot of places where it seems like he would be done. What is it when you look back at him as a politician in those years? Was it that allowed him to overcome everybody saying there's no way, laughing at him, that he's going to get this nomination or win?
Well, I think many of us looked at his comments as controversial or unacceptable or offensive. And there was a certain population in the country that saw one thing: wrecking ball, middle finger, burn it down. He doesn't care who he's offending. He doesn't care if it's John McCain, someone as beloved as John McCain, a war hero, which Trump took issue with. He doesn't care if it's this, well-known personality on...
Now, let me say right here real clearly. If John McCain did something that was totally a lie or whatever, that's one thing. But I will admit, I never agreed with how he went after John McCain. Because John McCain didn't go after him like other people did. But John McCain was too weak to go after Donald Trump, and he kind of like, that's like kicking somebody while they're down. But Hillary and others that went after Trump, Pelosi and the different ones that go after Trump, lock them up. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. Lock them up. Because the lies and the deceptions that they've put us through, okay, are totally criminal. And I don't really care what happens to them. I don't really care what Donald Trump says about them. John McCain, I don't know much about John McCain. I know about as much as I know less about John McCain than I do Trump. But, I never paid attention to John McCain. But John McCain obviously said some things, and Trump didn't let it go. And John McCain was never on the Trump train, so, but there's so many people out there that went after Trump. And I think, like, when you're a military veteran and you know what's really going on behind closed doors, you know what's going on in the dark, and you don't stand up and be honest, you're not willing to take that beat down to be honest, somebody like Trump is going to expose you. He's going to talk very dirty of you, and that's the way it is. And Trump, as you see, he stood up. He was willing to take a bullet for us. He stood up, and he stood up to all the lies and deception. And all you Democrats, I know I cannot say it enough, y'all don't understand it. First of all, before we even get to this recent presidency that just passed, the Democratic Party is not a party. I'm going to tell you one more time. I'm not going to tell you one more time. I'm probably going to say it 100,000 more times. I'm going to say it again. The Democratic Party is no longer a party. It is an agenda. That's what you're investing in when you invest in the Democratic Party. You're investing in an agenda. But hold on. If you're a Republican and you're anti-Trump and you're into this New World Order and you're into this reuniting all these countries together instead of letting them be their own thing, okay, you are also part of the agenda. Donald Trump, y'all hating on Trump, but Donald Trump, I just watched a video earlier today, this morning, about a group that what was it? What did I watch? I watched a group this morning, a guy talking about oh God, I forgot. It just left my mind. But it was about a group. What was it about? It had to do with the migrants, and it had to do with the things going on behind closed doors with Trump. I forgot what exactly the line that was said that I wanted to say. But anyway, the point is, there's so much lying and deception going on. That Democratic Party is not a party. Okay? Oh, yeah, I know what it was. There was a talk this morning about Donald Trump being an Antichrist. Someone was talking about Donald Trump being an Antichrist, and the brother got on there. He said, I don't know about that. He's talking about, his name is Abednego. He's a Christian on YouTube. That I'm subscribed to his channel. But he was talking about this guy calling Donald Trump the Antichrist. And he agreed with some of the things, because you have to be concerned about those things. But the truth of it all, when you think about it, is, hold up, they called Barack Obama the Antichrist when he was president. So it's not about even a Democratic or Republican thing. It's about you, first of all, not believing in any particular president. And then, as a Christian, you're not believing in any particular president. So what you do is you try to relate this to the Bible. Everything doesn't relate to the Bible. Okay? And some people are so bent on end-time prophecy that they're putting everybody in end-time prophecy, and we might not even be in end-time prophecy. This election may not have anything to do with prophecy. Now, people are getting excited because a lot of people prophesied that Donald Trump would get a second term. And so now they're reevaluating their dreams and visions, because Jesus told them in their dream that Donald Trump would get a second term, but they thought it was going to be in 2020. What didn't happen in 2020? They felt that if it didn't happen in 2020, it wasn't going to happen, but it happened in 2025. So now they're saying, oh, my dream was right. God didn't lie to me, and I didn't lie to my audience. Donald Trump did get a second term. Because the dream didn't say whether it was 2020. They said 2020. Because they figure, okay, well, Barack Obama got 2 terms back to back. Donald Trump's going to get 2 terms back to back. They didn't know about all the stuff going on to get him to a second term. So the prophecy was not wrong, because they were dreaming or having visions, just like I dream and have visions. And they found out that 2 terms is 2 terms, baby. So I wasn't wrong. God wasn't wrong. I didn't misinterpret my own dream or prophecy, okay, or vision. So we were right. We were right. 2 terms is 2 terms. Whether it happened in 2020 or whether it happened in 2025, it's 2 terms is 2 terms. So, I understand them. I understand Marcus Rogers getting all excited and saying, oh, he wasn't wrong, because 2 terms is 2 terms. It doesn't matter whether, but yeah, he did say 2020, because he's thinking like a politician. He's thinking, well, Barack Obama got 2 terms, so Trump was trying to get 2020. Trump thought he was getting 2020. Trump didn't go for 2025. He just kept on going until he got 2025, but he really wanted 2020. And look, because he did not get 2020, look what we had to go through. Look what we had to go through. And Trump, I believe, knew that Biden and Barack was going to do this to our country. And Kamala was going to support this. Okay, now a lot of y'all look at me and say, D-Roy, when did you get in politician? When did you get into politics? I'm not into politics until politics do us like this. Before Bill Clinton, I didn't worry about politics. Before Bill Clinton, I don't even think I voted before Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was the first time I voted, and I think I voted for Bill Clinton because, everybody was encouraging everybody to vote, so I voted for who everybody was voting for. And the Republican Party has always been, covered up with all this, Democratic activism. You have to have certain people like Christians, like pastors, get in your face and tell you about the Republican Party. And that's how I became a Republican, because my favorite pastor is a Republican. And he sneakily came up to me and said, D-Roy, vote for evil, but if you vote Republican, you're voting for the lesser of 2 evils. And then I started looking into this, and I'm thinking, well, Pastor, this is bigger than the lesser of 2 evils. This is way bigger than the lesser of 2 evils, because he's been a Republican all his life. I started around the time of Bill Clinton. After Bill Clinton, I said I'm not voting Democrat anymore. And So the minute I saw, I started listening to the policies that are supposed to be Democratic versus what are supposed to be Republican, and everything was just gay, 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 gay. We can marry trees and we can marry animals, and we can let mentally ill people get away with rape and stuff like that, and just call it mental illness. Okay, instead of putting them in prison for their crimes, and then now we got the transgender thing going on, and the pronouns and all like that. And Barack Obama started this when he signed executive order for gay marriage. And the minute he did that, our country has never been the same. Our country has never been the same since he did that. I'm going to let her talk, so I don't hold you long.
On Fox News primetime, a woman no less. That can be quicksand for a powerful man, no problem. He doesn't care if it's a Gold Star family, which any politician would say, for the love of God, don't attack them. Didn't care. Federal judge, nope, no problem. And Hillary Clinton on the debate stage, openly saying they're corrupt, I'd put her in jail, all that. And, well, a lot of these so-called, establishment types recoiled in horror. This other segment of the population, which had been ignored for so long, saw, that's our fighter. That's our guy. He's not with them. He doesn't want to be part of their club. Finally, someone who doesn't care if he's part of their club or not, which makes him part of our club. We've never had somebody who's part of our club who wants this job. And that is what I believe made those people get up off the couch for the first time ever.
And that's true. This is one thing that bothers the Democrats about us Republicans during both reigns of Donald Trump, is that they didn't know that we cared. They didn't know that we might get up off the couch, like she said, and say, I'm in. Now you got me. Now you got my attention. Now you got me wanting to go to work. Okay? Because you thought that, everybody wants to support the movement. Everybody wants to support the overturning of God. Everybody wants to support the making God suck them to us instead of us bowing to God. You know what I'm saying? And these Republicans like myself, we're sitting there and we're saying, well, yeah, I vote, but I'm not really into politics. I just voted for one of y'all. But I'm listening to you talk, and I'm listening to you act gay, and I'm listening to you say things that are totally ungodly. And then, I'm like, well, who cares? Barack don't care. Okay, and then Trump comes and I'm like, raising my hand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. I agree. Okay? Because everybody doesn't want to be, everybody doesn't want to be a liberal. Everybody doesn't want to exclude God. Everybody doesn't want to care about your libido. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody doesn't want that. Everybody doesn't want to be up in your sexual business. Do that behind closed doors at home. Okay? And don't bring that kind of dress code around my children. Don't bring that kind of talking and cussing and saying all that sexual innuendo and all that stuff around my children and grandchildren. Don't do that. Keep that to yourself. Now, on top of that, am I an American or am I still a minority? Am I immigrant here or not? Am I an American? Isn't there a difference between legals and illegals? Isn't there a difference between, blood-born Americans, just like any other country? I mean, if you go over to Asia, you can't own things like you can here in America unless you are Asian, unless you are of that Asian country. You cannot own things. You can't own property. You can't own cars. You can't own land. You can't be outspoken about certain things because you're not Asian. You're not Filipino. You're not Chinese or Japanese. So, they, like the Jews in the Bible, they keep a record of who is of the culture and who's not. Well, here in America, we got people thinking, and Donald Trump's standing up and letting you know, well, you thought wrong. We're not an open Walmart for people to just come in here and do what they want to do. You come in here with no money, you expect our government to wipe your butt for you and clean up after you. You come in here with money, you think you can buy all of our property and come in here and take over. And make this big Mexico. And Donald Trump is like, no, it's not going to happen. Not on my watch. Let me let her talk.
And pull the lever for him.
Do you know why he doesn't care? I mean, because he cares about winning. And he's being told the things he's doing are making him lose.
Well, I'm going to blow your mind with the answer. I think Trump is honest. I mean, he lies like all politicians lie. But there is a strain in Trump that's...
I have to say something about that because she didn't cover it here. What she means is that everybody is always trying to find a way around the things of America that ain't fair, like taxes. Even rich people, because rich people get taxed more. So rich people are going to have their little secret roads around them taxes. And it ain't like Christian tax. It ain't just Trump. It's Christian taxpayers do it too. Okay? You try to find your way around them taxes. Okay? And some things aren't fair, so maybe God don't mind you having a side hustle to get rid of your main, to work around your main hustle or something, so that those assets will get you to keep things where you feel they belong. But Trump is honest above most politicians. But he's dishonest just like your neighbor next door. Okay? He's dishonest just like you are. Just like you and I are, as far as, there's a lot of things that I don't really care about, but if they'll get me, a tax break, if they'll get me, a raise, if they'll get me a stimulus check, I'll take it. I'm not going to turn the stimulus check down, okay? Now, I could put some things on there and be more honest and ruin my chance of having the stimulus check, but do I deserve a stimulus check? I'm working and underpaid and paying taxes and ain't getting nothing back. Why shouldn't I get a stimulus check just like all the people out there that are lying, that are totally lying? Okay? But I'm just saying, like, I see what she's saying. But, Trump did real good when he was honest, is what she's saying. When Hillary tried to go in on him about his taxes, and he said, well, include yourself in this argument because you and me and everybody else that got money are doing the same thing. So where you going, lady? Like, where you going with this? Okay, all of us. Okay? Everybody. So why are you making that a Trump thing when that's an everybody thing,
Extremely honest. He's on sort of the radical honesty program when it comes to some things. And the way the system works, the way it's set up, is one of them. And that was a really important thing to have right both times he won. Because he was able to stand up there and say, that's right, I don't pay taxes, it makes me smart. Or, yeah, you've all been in my office on the bended knee asking me for money, and I paid you both just so I could own you. You know, if people had never heard anybody talk like that before, and it was true, you knew it was true. You can tell when someone's saying something that is really true and radical and controversial. It has an air to it that resonates, and Trump is very adept at that, very. So it worked. It worked for, the regular man. It worked for the more sophisticated man who felt maybe a little threatened by it, but also intrigued by it. And I think, with now almost 10 years of Trump in the public sphere, we can all see it so much more clearly, right? Like what he was doing and how it wasn't an act and it wasn't a tactic. It's who he is. It's the guy right now who tried to put Matt Gaetz in charge of the DOJ. It's the guy who tried to put Pete Hegseth in charge of DOD. The guy who's putting Tulsi as DNI. The guy who's putting RFKJ as head of HHS. Wrecking ball, middle finger, burn it down. I'm anti your fancy elite establishment circles.
I mean, and the biggest comeback that seemed like he was gone was the Access Hollywood moment. Did you think he was down in that moment, and what do you ascribe to his comeback from that?
100%. I thought it was over for Trump. I didn't think he was going to withdraw after Access Hollywood, but I certainly thought he had no chance of winning. And that was unlike anything we'd ever seen before. That sort of a tape with that kind of language. And it was the only time Trump apologized. He did that sort of self-flagellation tape where he called it locker room talk, but it was an extraordinary moment. And I remember Bill Bennett, former education secretary under Reagan and a Fox News contributor, came on my show that night, and he'd been a big Trump defender. And he was so forlorn, saying, it's just such a shame. What a shame. It was like looking so good for him. And I trusted Bill, and I thought, he's right. He's calling it. He's got years of experience. And then Trump the fighter. That's really, if you're going to make a movie about Donald Trump, it should be called The Fighter. Trump the fighter got back up and said, no, I will not let you keep me down here. And showed up at that debate that followed with Juanita Broderick and Kathleen Willey. It was like, and we all, again, like the buttoned up establishment types were like, the impropriety, oh my goodness, we've never seen such a, what is he doing? Oh my God, it's working. He totally neutralized the growing narrative about him and women and made the choices look a lot less clear than they had prior to him reminding us what the husband of his opponent had done for years to women. Very effective technique and part of Trump's just unwillingness to stay down.
That's interesting because you've added to it now the power pause thing, but also the fighter is part of how he does the comeback, and I guess that's something you can see throughout his life.
What's wrong with that?
Well, there's no better example than what happened in July of 2024, right? The first assassination attempt. What did he say? What did he say with the fist up? It's no accident.
Was that long ago? I don't know. Was that long ago?
The first thing that came to mind was him telling his supporters to fight. That wasn't an act. It wasn't an affectation. That is who he is in his core. And Trump looked angry in that moment. And sometimes when you're angry, your truest feeling will come out. Sometimes a false feeling will come, but sometimes it's your truest and deepest feeling. And you will say the thing you mean above all other things. And I do believe that message was sincere. And it was a rallying cry, for his supporters and fans and others beyond. We saw people like Mark Zuckerberg coming out and saying, what a badass moment. We saw Democrats like Nate Silver, others praising this moment that you wouldn't expect, your average Democrat to relate to, but it was a universal message and it was totally authentic for him.
We've talked to you before about the debate moment, but I'm curious about now, looking back on it from where you are now with the perspective of 2024. Do you look back on it differently, the interaction with him, what happened to you afterwards?
Well, I think I have a better perspective on it now. I'm able to put it in the proper file now. I think it was, Trump's response to me that night and thereafter was part of his fighter nature and was also part of his messaging to the populace that there were no sacred cows for Trump, including a Fox News anchor. He didn't care about bending the knee, not to me, but to Rupert Murdoch, who I think he viewed as a proxy. And I know Steve Bannon, I think to this day, thinks that Rupert Murdoch was behind my tough questions and or Brett's or Chris's. It isn't true. I mean, I feel like people would believe me by this point. I would just be telling you if I'd been given that question by someone. That was my question. And if you look back at the candidate's Achilles heels, it was kind of obvious even back then that would be one you'd raise with Trump. But I think that's how Trump saw it, and that's why he wasn't afraid to attack me, and that's why actually he wound up enjoying the attack and thinking it was an important piece of his campaign. And it did resonate. His poll numbers went up, not down, as a result of all that. The aftermath that followed and the unpleasantness in my own life, which was unleashed by Trump repeatedly bringing it up and staying on me, and really by Bannon, at Breitbart, as you guys have documented before, I experienced that so personally when it happened to me that I really wasn't able to, nor interested in thinking about what was behind it. I just wanted it to stop. Now, with the benefit of all these years, I see they were trying to win the presidency. And the attacks weren't exactly on Megyn Kelly, the person. They were on Megyn Kelly, the brand, the journalist, who was a very useful foil in some ways. And if they could bring her down or show to the electorate they weren't afraid of her and they were happy to keep bashing her, it would send a message that they were tough, that they would fight for them, that when the chips were down on something like the Brett Kavanaugh nomination, they wouldn't care then either. That too would not be a sacred cow Me Too allegations against a Supreme Court justice nominee. So I have a better view on what went on there. It doesn't make it any less pleasant, but with time, the memory does you a solid of letting you forget some of the worst edges around something like that.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. You can watch this if you want. You can watch this if you want. Turn these things off. You can watch this if you want. It's called Trump's Comeback Megyn Kelly Interview Frontline. You can go to YouTube and watch this if you want. I'm not going to do all your homework for you. But in closing, like she said, Trump wasn't going after her personally when she interviewed him, and she was big for interviewing him and asking him the questions, the controversial questions that she was asking him. And like she said, that was up for her and that was her strong point. But Trump, when he took her down and showed, accused her of being fake news or whatever, he didn't do it to punish her or smear her. He did it because, like she said, that is how you win this game. That's how you protect yourself while you're trying to win the presidency. Like you said, he's trying to win the presidency, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't when he decided to run for 2025, didn't she interview him again? And this time it was on a more, I'm pretty sure I saw her interview him personally in a personal interview after she realized that he was definitely campaigning for 2025, and it was a softer tone between the two of them, and it was more straight to the point and more, about him getting, she did question him about, what his plans were, but she did not ridicule him in a, deceptive way like she did before. She just asked him all the questions that everybody wants to know, and he answered them very, very good. And his tone versus her tone, and her tone versus his tone was just perfect. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a good interview. It could be wrong. I could be wrong. Could have been his interview with some other anchor that used to put him down, and he got her straight. But I think she also did. There's probably 3 people I remember him recently before he started doing his rallies for 2025 that he was interviewed with. To be honest, though, Trump never gave up on the presidency. He didn't come back and try again. He'd been trying again ever since he lost 2020. Because Trump was doing rallies. This is how it's done, baby. He was doing rallies from the time Biden got in office till right now as we speak. He's been doing rallies after rallies after rallies. And this is why I tell people when they criticize Donald Trump, I say, do you ever watch his rallies? Because he's not just sitting there talking about what he's going to do and, they're all lying. No, he explains to you how they're lying. He tells you things that you didn't know. I rest my case. I'm going to stop there. Thank you for watching Facebook and YouTube, I guess. Thank you. And I will talk to you soon with more. Hope you learned something.